Okay, so welcome back, people, and it is the second video, like part second of the video I've made about how does your mind work, and this particular one is going to be about how we adapt violent behavior and how do we adapt violence in our normal behavior as usual. In the previous video, we have learned about the brain and the mind and how they are two inseparable and entities and you cannot separate them. So basically the function of subconscious mind is to just store data and retrieve the data when it is required and when it is needed. Okay, your conscious mind is the one that gives command to the subconscious mind, like right now we need that information, just give it to me fast, and then it all goes to your body and the muscles so that it can follow and take the actions around. Okay, so basically both of them work tirelessly 24/7. Even when you are sleeping, your body works. Okay, it functions properly, it heals itself, and even your mind works, even your brain works. Like we know how all the hormones are just controlled by our brain, and when we sleep all of them works. Okay, all of them release on their proper time and all of the functions just continues. Okay, so the main point is both of them work tirelessly 24/7 and both of them work in coordination. Okay, there's nothing that can separate the two of them. Okay, so coming back to the topic, which was violence, and violence is very common in our country. It is extremely common. We can see it in the form of fights and all the rape cases. It all falls under the category of violence to me. Okay, so what causes violence? What is violence? So basically violence is driven by negative thoughts in a person. Okay, it can be as a form of protection and it can be as a form of anger. I'll give you an example for both of them. Okay, maybe if someone is attacking me, obviously I'll attack back by whatever means necessary, but in that case the violence is just a form of protection for me. I want to protect myself, I don't want to get lost in that fight or being hurt. That is one type of violence, and the another type of violence can be described by anger. Like you are so angry that you just want to smash their head with a stone or something. That is another form or emotion that emerges violent behavior. Okay, so both the examples that we have just saw that we just saw right now, okay, both of them are the examples of conventional violence. Okay, these are the conventional or basic situations that usually happens. Okay, but sometimes there are non-conventional situations, like you do violence because you're just exposed to it for so long that you think that this is the only appropriate behavior. So due to the extended exposure to the violence, what happens is that your brain accepts the signal of that the violence is what is acceptable in the society, and violence is the only safest reason to survive, I guess. Because let's take an example of a dog. Okay, if you are hitting the dog constantly, no matter how much the dog love you and how much respectful he is, and it goes for person or people or humans as well. Okay, but if it gets out of hand, he will react back, he will bark at you, and he will just show any kind of sign or any sort of violence. It is normal. And the another thing is, another example that can be taken for this situation will be like, let's take an example of a baby and how the baby is treated. Okay, and suppose if I have a baby and I am treating the baby and I am giving all the commands to him in the form of violence. Okay, so what he will learn, if I give another baby in care of that one, he will just do what he will just do what he has learned. Okay, he will just repeat the mistakes that the previous one has made. Okay, he will not think, because our mind has a tendency to accept the things that nobody takes objection about. If I am going somewhere and no one is taking their shoes out to show any kind of respect or anything, I will obviously think that okay, maybe this is the normal way, that this is how it is supposed to be. Same thing goes with the violence. Okay, if someone believes, if someone is exposed to the violence for a long time, he or she will accept that this is how it is supposed to be. Okay, and all of these conditions give birth to a disorder that is called IED. Now, I have mentioned previously that you do not self-diagnose yourself for any of it, because it's not suggested by any of the doctors out there, but still you can learn about it. And okay, the full form of IED is intermittent explosive disorder. The person who has this kind of disorder, he will be very, very impulsive. He won't think before making an action on anyone. That is called impulsivity. He will be very, very hostile, and most of it, the people with this disorder, they do not like to be reasoned with. Like, they just don't want to listen what is wrong with them, or why something that they're doing is not right. Okay, and what happens is that the person who has IED usually feels the guilt after they do something. Okay, if suppose I have IED and I just had an aggressive outburst on you, and later on maybe I will realize that it was not your fault at all, and then I will feel guilty. And what happens is, if I feel guilty and I come and apologize to you, it's a healthy outlet. I will just let out my feelings to you, and it's going to be healthy and it's going to be fine, because I have released the stress that was created by it. But what happens if you don't? In extreme cases of IED, the stress can lead to social isolation, which means that the person will stop seeing you. This was it for today's video, and if you liked it and if you want to see more of it, you just have to follow like the normal channels and everything.